Dollar General isn't giving a straight answer amid months of consumer complaints.
Every time I go in there, there's one price on the shelf, and then you get to the register, it's a different price.
And documented examples of the problem.
So these SpaghettiOs were $1.50 on the shelf, but I actually paid $2.25 for them.
Dollar General's doors were locked across Ohio Friday morning.
The name Dollar General evokes images of convenience, affordability, and accessibility. With over 19,000 stores scattered across the United States, it's a retail giant that seems to have mastered the art of catering to the everyday needs of consumers. But beneath the facade of low prices and cheerful blue and yellow signage lies a hidden truth. What secrets are hidden behind those automatic sliding doors? Join us as we unravel the shocking secrets Dollar General doesn't want you to know. How Dollar General price their products. Imagine driving through any small town in America and passing by a scene that has become almost as familiar as roadside diners, the bright yellow and black signs of Dollar General stores. They seem to pop up everywhere like magic mushrooms after a rainstorm. With nearly 20,000 stores spread across 48 states, this discount giant, born in Tennessee, has firmly established itself in lower-income neighborhoods, rural areas, and even suburbs. But there's more to this story than meets the eye. It's easy to assume that Dollar General stores are simply a response to economic struggles, but the truth is more complex. Hidden behind their promise of low everyday prices and convenient locations lies a murky business strategy and a scandal of epic proportions. It's almost absurd to think that legal action is necessary just to get a corporation, to be honest. In May of 2022, Lori Hartland noticed something strange while shopping at her local Dollar General. She couldn't help but notice that the price of her favorite kitty litter had suddenly spiked. When they first opened in 2021, the kitty litter was a reasonable $8.95, she recalls. I didn't think much of it at the time.
I think it was 2021, the price of my kitty litter was $8.95. Great. I purchased it all the time. I didn't pay attention. I go up there, I check out, I leave.
But then one day, as I'm checking out, I see the prices jump to $1.10. That's when I started to question things.
Well, one day, wait a minute, $10? I noticed it. I asked him about it. Oh no, they've raised the price. Well, that doesn't say it on the shelf.
Intrigued, Lori decided to investigate. When she asked the cashier about the price difference, she was met with a casual response. Oh, the price went up, but we haven't updated it on the shelf. It's in the system now. Confused and feeling like something was missing, Lori brushed it off and continued with her day. But little did she know, this was just the tip of the iceberg. But the story didn't stop there. Every week she encountered the same problem. The prices on the shelves didn't match what she was charged at the checkout counter. It just didn't make sense, she says, her forehead creased with concern. I knew something was wrong. Then one morning, while listening to the news, Lori's attention was caught by a report about Dollar General getting into trouble for misleading pricing practices in Ohio. That's it, she exclaimed, feeling a rush of confirmation. That's exactly what's been happening to me. Finally, she realized she wasn't the only one facing this frustration. It was like a light turning on for Lori. She understood she wasn't imagining things, and it wasn't just her dealing with these confusing prices. And thus began her quest to uncover the truth behind Dollar General's pricing methods. After enduring months of consistent overcharging at Dollar General, Lori took matters into her own hands. Frustrated by the repeated discrepancies in her bills, she penned a letter to the Oklahoma Attorney General, seeking a resolution. To her surprise, within just 2 days, she received a response confirming that her letter had been forwarded. She thought it was great, progress. But then, lo and behold, Dollar General themselves reached out, offering an apology and a measly $1.10 gift card as compensation. Lori was shocked. It felt like a slap in the face. Lori's ordeal caught the attention of attorney Mark Dan, who saw it as a prime example of a larger problem. Her experience became the catalyst for not one, but 3 class action lawsuits filed in Oklahoma, New York, and New Jersey. However, on June 22nd, Lori found herself once again overcharged, this time for 4 out of 11 items. What was advertised as $6.50 ended up costing $7.95. It's straightforward. If someone tells you one thing and then charges you another, that's deceitful. In many places across America, this is seen as deception, which is similar to theft. Even though corporations are treated as individuals by the U.S. Supreme Court, they are still obligated to follow the law. Sadly, Dollar General's tactics go deeper than most people realize. The shameless exploitation and price deception. According to Stacy Mitchell, a researcher at the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, Dollar General targets areas that lack economic and political influence, where they can easily manipulate circumstances to their advantage. They build so many stores in these areas that it becomes nearly impossible for new local businesses, like grocery stores, to thrive. This perpetuates poverty because Dollar General profits from it. Mitchell points out that the poorest individuals are often left with no choice but to shop at Dollar General, even though the store deceives them about prices. This exploitation of vulnerable communities is, in Mitchell's view, one of the most exploitative business strategies she's encountered. In most parts of America, there are systems in place to ensure honesty at cash registers. This includes price verification, where a product listed at a certain price must ring up at that same price at the register. Typically, there might be occasional failures in this process, but they're swiftly corrected. However, in the case of Dollar General, the failure rate was shockingly high. Over 80% of the stores checked consistently failed price verification tests, with no apparent effort to rectify the issue. This continuous failure to address the problem reveals a concerning lack of accountability within the company. Despite being repeatedly cited for pricing discrepancies, Dollar General failed to address the issue, leading the Ohio Attorney General to take legal action against the chain. During our discussions, one noteworthy aspect emerged: the staffing practices of Dollar General stores. It was observed that staff members often lacked proper guidance and resources, leading to instances where they struggled to maintain accurate pricing. This was worsened by the deliberate understaffing of stores, as Dollar General prioritized cost-cutting measures over compliance with Ohio law regarding price verification. By deliberately reducing the number of staff members, Dollar General unknowingly increased the likelihood of widespread pricing errors. This highlights the consequences of prioritizing profit margins over legal and ethical responsibilities. Despite facing fines and legal challenges, Dollar General continues to prioritize profit, viewing penalties as merely a routine expense rather than a means to check unethical behavior. As a result, the current penalties fail to effectively curb Dollar General's recurrent violations, allowing the cycle of misconduct to persist. Dollar General has faced fines totaling over $20 million from both states and the federal government since 2017. In July 2023, Dollar General was sued for an alleged pricing scam. The lawsuit, a class action brought by Dan Law, led by former Ohio Attorney General Mark Dan, claimed that Dollar General frequently misled customers by pricing items lower on the store floor than what they were charged at the checkout. According to Dan, Dollar General's actions amounted to stealing small amounts from millions of people daily. He asserted that Dollar General was fully aware of the problem and had been for some time. The lawsuit argued that Dollar General's practices, which could be seen as false advertising, had harmed thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands, of consumers financially. Filed in New York, the lawsuit sought to declare Dollar General in violation of state law and requested damages for the affected class. Dan's firm had gathered extensive evidence, including thousands of pages of public records, demonstrating Dollar General's violations. A significant aspect of the case revolved around weights and measure standards, which aimed to ensure that products were accurately labeled regarding size and weight. Dan claimed that Dollar General consistently failed these tests conducted by state and federal authorities, with an average failure rate of 20%. The central argument in the lawsuit boils down to a simple fact: the price displayed on Dollar General's tags doesn't match what customers actually pay at the register. This isn't the first time Dollar General has faced scrutiny for its business practices, exposing the pattern of corporate misconduct. Back in 2019, Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York State, fined the company $1.2 million for selling expired and outdated products. Additionally, Dollar General pledged to improve its business methods as part of the settlement. These fines stemmed from an investigation where undercover state agents discovered Dollar General consistently sold expired items, including over-the-counter medicines, and violated New York's bottle deposit regulations. Dan revealed that the process of certifying the class action was underway, which is often the most challenging aspect of such lawsuits. Recent Supreme Court rulings have made it increasingly difficult for harmed consumers to unite in a class action against large corporations. Nevertheless, there is substantial support for the class action claims. with multiple other cases pending against Dollar General and similar discount retailers for various alleged improper business practices. For instance, a report from Cleveland.com highlights how Dollar General has been failing inspections across Ohio, as revealed by county records. In one instance, all 14 Dollar General stores visited in a county failed inspections. At one store, inspectors discovered price tags that were 2 years old. Occasionally, when price differences are found, an item might be a few cents cheaper. However, most of the time, items were priced anywhere from 5 cents to $1 more expensive, according to the inspection reports. Ohio's Attorney General David Yost launched a lawsuit in 2022, ultimately settling for over $1 million. Of that sum, $750,000 was allocated to food banks and other hunger relief organizations. In September 2023, Missouri's Attorney General Andrew Bailey took legal action against Dollar General for suspected pricing scams. An investigation conducted jointly by the Attorney General's office and the Missouri Department of Agriculture Weights and Measures Division found that more than half of the stores inspected failed to accurately price items. Discrepancies were as high as $6.50 per item. Kennedy Smith, a senior researcher at the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, pointed out to the prospect that Ohio's Attorney General discovered pricing errors consistently surpassing the state's permitted margin of error. At one store, errors reached as high as 88%. Smith raised concerns about whether these scanning mistakes were accidental or intentional, especially since almost all the errors benefited Dollar General rather than consumers. This suggests, Smith argued, that the company prioritizes its profits over complying with the law. Sometimes deceptive pricing isn't just a problem at cheaper stores. Recently, a few restaurants in D.C. were sued for sneaking in an extra 3.5% fee onto customers' bills. However, it's the folks who heavily depend on discount stores like Dollar General, Walmart, and Dollar Tree who really struggle with unfair charges and price hikes. These discount chains tend to set up shops in some of the poorest parts of the country, which often have more people of color living there. A report called The Dollar Store Invasion from the Institute for Local Self-Reliance dives into how these discount chains, like Dollar General, target rural areas as well as Black and Latino communities. They push out local grocery stores and offer cheaper, but often lower quality options. The report also talks about how these discount chains take advantage of a lack of laws to stop them, along with issues like food shortages, poverty, and how selling food works to make a profit. The report mentions that in cities, it's quite common to see many dollar stores all grouped in specific neighborhoods. It even includes a map showing where these stores are located and the types of people living around them in 8 big cities. In rural areas, these stores tend to set up near the only grocery store around, often forcing them to shut down. This can lead to less food being available and make it even harder for people of color to get fresh food. Because Dollar General is so big, even small pricing mistakes can quickly become a big problem. Although the extra charges might not seem like much for each item, Dollar General has over 19,000 stores, mostly in the poorest parts of cities and rural areas, and its customers typically earn around $35,000 a year, Dan explained in an email. Many of their stores are in areas where there aren't many other places to buy food, making it tough for customers to find alternatives. Surprisingly, Dollar General recently decided to remove self-checkout options. They claim this move is due to an apparent increase in shoplifting, although there are doubts about whether this rise has genuinely occurred. Strangely, while the store is making changes to prevent theft, the stealing that reportedly happens right at the checkout counter has largely gone unpunished, according to claims in a class action lawsuit and various investigations. Dan pointed out a troubling possibility. Dollar General might be quietly pocketing cash from its customers without their awareness. This could be happening across their vast network of over 19,000 stores, resulting in an estimated loss of approximately $100 million annually. It's similar to a tidal wave of wrongdoing. Sadly, those impacted by this potential scheme often lack adequate representation in the legal realm. Despite attempts to reach out, Dollar General did not respond to requests for comment. The report by the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, ILSR, highlights how communities are starting to resist the expansion of these discount chains, recognizing the harm that these stores can bring to neighborhoods. Since 2019, the report notes, at least 75 communities have successfully opposed the establishment of new dollar stores. It also calls for federal intervention to address this issue, including better enforcement of antitrust laws and support for independent businesses. Although regulatory agencies like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Department of Justice have shown interest in Dollar General's practices, they have not taken significant action yet. Currently, it appears that the primary method to make these stores answer for the harm they're accused of causing is through class action lawsuits, legal actions by states, and fines imposed upon them. However, these fines, though significant, are insignificant compared to the profits Dollar General has amassed from communities. Despite these penalties, the company's conduct remains largely unchanged. Consider the vast scale of Dollar General's operations, revealing the price of service. With over 19,000 stores and millions of transactions and items sold daily, even small differences can add up to massive sums. For instance, if just 10% of transactions involve a small overcharge of 10 cents on 10% of items, it translates to hundreds of millions of dollars taken from the pockets of America's poorest citizens and funneled into the pockets of Dollar General shareholders. When a company repeatedly violates laws, mere fines may not be sufficient to prompt meaningful change. It raises the question, what deeper actions can be taken to hold such companies accountable? Perhaps it's time to consider more drastic measures, such as shutting down operations if reform isn't achieved. Additionally, Dollar General should compensate customers for their losses and commit to changing their business practices moving forward. Furthermore, there's a case for holding corporate executives accountable for their role in condoning such schemes. Prosecution of those responsible could serve as a powerful deterrent against future misconduct. It's time for Dollar General to face civil consequences, compensate affected customers, reform its practices, and for those at the helm to be held legally accountable for their actions. There are so many Dollar General stores that if you were to count, you'd find as many of them as there are McDonald's and Walmart locations combined. That's quite a staggering thought. Now let's zoom in a bit closer. A whopping 75% of Americans live within a mere 5-mile radius of a Dollar General. It sounds like a remarkable success story at first glance, but peel back the shiny facade and you'll discover a darker truth lurking beneath the surface. Behind the glossy exterior lies a tale of exploitation. Workers toil tirelessly within these stores, their efforts fueling the company's relentless expansion and swelling profits. Take, for instance, the story of one frustrated employee. After enduring a grueling schedule of back-to-back shifts with no respite in sight, he reached their breaking point. The final straw was the prospect of being thrust into a position of greater responsibility without any corresponding pay or recognition increase. And so, in a moment of defiance, they decided to take a stand. As he reflects on their experience, he can't help but feel a sense of anger. While Dollar General rakes in billions in revenue, with shareholders reaping the benefits through lavish stock buybacks, the median salary for its retail workers remains dismally low. It's a stark comparison. The CEO enjoying a hefty salary increase, while those at the bottom of the ladder struggle to make ends meet on meager wages. The sheer magnitude of the company's profits boggles the mind. Billions upon billions of dollars flow into its coffers, yet the plea for a modest raise falls on deaf ears. It's a glaring example of the stark gap between those who reap the rewards and those who bear the brunt of the labor. And this isn't just an isolated incident. Dollar stores, with their enticing promise of low prices and convenience, are spreading across the country at an alarming rate. They're set to account for a third of all new store openings in the United States this year alone. Dollar General, the titan among them, shows no signs of slowing down, with plans to add another 1,000 stores to its empire in the coming year. In the end, one can't help but wonder, how much profit is worth the cost of human suffering? It's a question that weighs heavily on the conscience, challenging us to confront the stark realities of a system where corporate greed reigns supreme. Imagine a chain of stores that primarily targets neighborhoods where people have lower incomes. These stores pay their workers the least out of all the major retailers, averaging just under 10 cents per hour. Even other dollar stores aren't far off from this low wage. Meanwhile, a company like Target has set a minimum wage of $1.15 in certain states, such as Oklahoma and Georgia. Shockingly, in some states, more than 1% of people on Medicaid are Dollar General employees. Dollar General executives need to grasp the reasons behind the departure of their staff lately. It's not solely about the paycheck. It encompassed the struggle to afford essentials like rent or healthcare. It revolved around feeling unappreciated despite the dedication they pour into their work. Despite being told they were compensated for 40 hours weekly, the reality demanded much more, with managers routinely clocking in 60 to 80 hours without receiving overtime compensation. Moreover, Dollar General's practice of extending manager hours and leaving employees isolated has rendered their stores vulnerable to criminal activities. Throughout the pandemic, the working conditions were worsened, marked by confrontational customers and numerous incidents necessitating police intervention. Employees across the country are starting to speak out against the massive income gap and terrible working conditions. Dollar General intentionally keeps their stores understaffed and exploits salaried workers for more hours. They'll keep doing it until laws change. When Dollar General sets up shop in a community, it claims to be helping the working class. But in reality, it often drives other businesses out and limits job opportunities. Dollar General's questionable expansion. Across the nation, many retailers are closing their doors. From major brands like Toys R Us, which announced the closure or sale of all its U.S. locations, to names like Foot Locker, J.Crew, and Macy's, which are scaling back their physical stores. However, there's one exception to this trend: Dollar General. Rather than closing down, Dollar General is expanding rapidly. They're opening new stores in markets that others avoid, and they're making big profits doing it. David Proctor, who has spent years studying small-town grocery stores in Kansas, notes that about 20% of his time is spent traveling and talking to store owners. He's observed a significant shift in their conversations lately, with many focusing on the growing presence of Dollar General in their communities. Dollar General isn't a new player in the retail game. It's been around since the 1950s, offering a range of household goods, dry foods, and some perishable items like eggs and milk. However, in the last decade, the company has honed its approach. It's targeting areas that struggled to recover from the recession, specifically low-income rural communities where even Walmart hesitates to set up shop. And they're doing it at a remarkable pace. Since 2010, Dollar General has opened over 8,000 new locations across the U.S., bringing their total to nearly 20,000 stores nationwide. This strategic expansion has cemented Dollar General's position as a dominant force in the retail landscape, defying the downward trends seen by many of its competitors. Every week, the authorities receive emails or calls from small towns reporting that Dollar General is either causing their businesses to suffer or preparing to move in. These rural parts of Kansas are significantly impacted by Dollar General's presence. According to Vice News, Dollar General claims that their stores offer an additional shopping option alongside other retailers, particularly for non-fresh items like cereal, soup, and pasta. However, this doesn't bode well for local grocers who rely on these sales for their livelihoods. When these small business owners reach out, their emotions range from fear to anger as they struggle with the uncertainty of how to respond to Dollar General's arrival. In Haven, Kansas, Doug Neck closed his grocery store because he couldn't compete with the nearby Dollar General. The sight of empty coolers, once filled with meat and poultry, is a painful reminder of the impact on his business. Dollar General's expansion often goes unnoticed until it is too late for local businesses. Without even advertising their arrival, Dollar General swiftly draws customers away from traditional grocers. This loss of customers translates to a significant drop in sales, leading to closures and job losses in the community. Despite the concerns raised by economists about the long-term consequences of relying solely on Dollar General for groceries, many consumers opt for cheaper prices, worsening the problem for local businesses. This dilemma, known as a collective action problem, highlights the struggle between individual savings and the community's well-being. Despite the challenges faced by local businesses, Dollar General's success continues to grow. With plans to open additional locations, the chain showed no signs of slowing down, further impacting the landscape of rural communities across the country. Dollar General is expanding its reach into low-income urban areas, a new market for them. Here, their competitors are not local grocers, but other dollar stores like Family Dollar and Dollar Tree. In Tulsa, Councilor Vanessa Hall Harper oversees a district with 10 discount dollar stores, but no grocery stores. Despite community feedback against more discount dollar stores, Dollar General managed to open a new location despite a temporary halt on new dollar stores in the area. Councilor Harper doesn't oppose discount dollar stores outright, but she's worried about their increasing presence in her community. She believes that Dollar General's strategy focuses on areas where people have limited choices for shopping, leading to what's called food deserts. When Dollar General opens many stores in these areas, it becomes harder for other types of stores, especially good quality grocery stores, to succeed. The issue isn't just about having too many discount stores in one place. It's also about the lack of other shopping options for residents. When there are no other choices, people don't have much of a say in where they spend their money. They have to go where they can afford to. This creates a cycle where Dollar General becomes even more dominant in these areas, leaving people with limited access to affordable and healthy food options. To someone not fully aware of the situation, the Dollar General store in Faith, South Dakota, for example, might seem like an economic miracle, defying all odds just by existing. Faith is a small, remote town with only 367 residents. It has a few gas stations, inns, a restaurant, and an auto parts store. But what's remarkable is the absence of any national brand except for Dollar General. But that's not the whole story. Dollar General isn't just the lone chain in Faith. It's also the only one in a 45-minute radius until you reach the Dairy Queen in the larger town of Eagle Butte, with a population of 3,000. Normally, a town of 367 people wouldn't attract a big national brand because there isn't enough money to make it worthwhile. Yet somehow Dollar General thrives here. Faith isn't a tourist destination or a major stop along an interstate highway. It sits at the crossroads of a state and a U.S. highway, but it's not a shortcut between cities either. Despite these challenges, Dollar General manages to stay afloat. This might seem unusual for other national retailers, but not for Dollar General. They have a track record of succeeding in places where other chains wouldn't even consider opening. Their nearest locations to the north, east, south, and west are in towns with populations of 1,200, 1,100, 540, and 590, respectively. Walmart, a major player in rural America, doesn't even come close to these numbers. Determining the minimum population needed to support a Dollar General store is tricky, but looking at factors like the number of Google reviews can give us an idea. For example, the least popular Dollar General store in Colorado, located in Gunnison, serves a population of 6,700 within a 20-minute drive. In Wyoming, the least popular Walmart is in Rawlins, serving 6,300 people within the same radius. But in Alaska, Dollar General's least popular store, on Kodiak Island, serves 8,700 people in the same area, without the benefit of interstate traffic. While Walmart changed the retail landscape by turning a profit in small, remote communities like Kodiak, Dollar General has taken it a step further. Walmart operates in towns with thousands of people, but Dollar General thrives in places with just hundreds. A typical Dollar General store has a small staff of 6 to 10 people, with only 2 or 3 working at a time. With low hourly rates and limited operating hours, they can spend as little as $300 to $400 a day on staffing their least busy stores. What are your thoughts on the heavy accusations against Dollar General? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. And if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.